that's what you need to have as an intro. Just like
that shows that you haven't listened to the podcast one
I
time.
have.
Hello, friends.
I watch it on
that
YouTube.
That intro just got me all jacked for season. Even though we didn't hear nothing, but
well,
the listeners
besides
did.
Thomas doesn't like it. And we need
That is a new one. I just did it.
I never said I didn't like it.
He assumed you didn't.
You
like
just go,
it.
well.
Okay, here's the deal. It doesn't really remind me of duck season because we don't do a lot of podcasts during duck season.
We've only had this podcast for a year.
No, I know.
What if we had
Just
like
saying.
Well, we're going to this year.
a
So
flock of birds come in and we're sounding
What
like,
we could do is how about
listen
this?
to it, and then come back and let me know what you think.
How about
it's fine with me.
That's actually sad. That breaks my heart.
I didn't say nothing.
You never even heard it.
I did too.
Really?
He lived
What is it?
it.
How does it start out?
He lived it.
No. There's a new one.
There's a new one.
It's only been like how long, Talon?
Not very
3
long.
4 months.
Yeah.
we should put some
It would be
audio-
kind of weird if we're sitting there listening to our own podcast. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Thomas.
We should put some audio from a hunt or two or whatever of our season. Like a high point.
We did. You screaming in that one is you when we were going and we shot that banded pintail.
Whose band we can't find.
Anyways, Talon's back.
Oh,
Hey,
deep
you can
subject
tell.
there.
Well, for those of you that are watching on the YouTube channel, new backdrop. What do you guys think? Comment down below. For those of you that listen on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all that good stuff, iHeartRadio. Yes, we have a little new studio, and I'm still kind of a little not happy with it. But
Little.
yeah,
Oh, I'm just kidding. Looks great. Great job.
yeah. Thanks, Thomas.
What's the time check? What's the date here? No, I don't even know what today is. It's the 29th
Doesn't even matter.
I
of
thought it was
August.
the 28th.
It's the 29th of August.
All right. If you say
We got
so.
a new update to the studio. You're gonna come back and listen, and you're gonna need to know that.
recount that.
Huh? Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, what we're going to talk about today is Talon is back from the Northlands, from Alaska.
Way
Alaska.
up north.
He was, we don't want to say anything negative, but and it's not towards him, obviously, but he was a packer, but he was kind of a guide too. So, I don't know, let's talk about, so you were, what kind of sheep was it?
Doll sheep.
It was all three were Dall
All
sheep.
three were doll sheep. Yep.
So he went for how long, 2 weeks?
Little over 3 weeks.
Little over 3?
We were over there for a little over 3 weeks. Yep.
Well, let's dig into that. First off, we want to say thank you to Yukonuba for their support. A few dogs eat on that food now, not just Rocky. So, Myro, Thomas's pride and joy.
My hunting dog.
He's got to be in one of our videos, dude.
He'll be my hunting dog
He's
this year.
like your mascot.
We'll duct tape him to the back of Rocky. That way he can get some training.
experience.
He'll get some retrieves in. He'll get some experience. And then he'll know exactly what to do.
He won't even know he's there either. He's got a Milo. I can just see his lips flapping and his ears just waving. I love to do some B-roll Milo running, dude.
That would be hilarious.
Well, let's hear about some stories of what happened in Alaska. How's Alaska? What is that place like?
Alaska is probably one of the greatest places there is on Earth. I mean, you can't beat it. It's just remarkable. It's every time you land there. So, first thing is we get on the flight. We head to Sacramento, and then from Sac, we landed in Seattle, and then went to Anchorage. So, when you land in Anchorage, and you step out the airport, there's something special about it. It, like, grabs you. But, so, I'm actually working for an outfitter by the name of Vast Alaska, Cash Joyce, and a close friend by Johnny, who's invited me to go with them the past couple years. So
This was your second time there,
second
right?
time there. So this is my second year.
I've never been.
I haven't either.
Yeah,
I've always
I
wanted to
haven't
go.
either.
you guys are gonna have to go.
No, I'd love to go.
You're gonna have to go.
For Harlequin.
Yes.
For anything,
Yep.
I just want to go, period.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Moose.
just like a
I
trip.
wanna
Moose
go
would be
up there.
awesome. Moose hunt.
So we had to his house, and then from there, so we got there August 4th. So season started August 10th, so we had a few days to get everything ready and get everything ready laid out for the hunters and get all our stuff packed and food and stuff. So our first hunter by the name of Stephen Boswell and Boswell Custom Rifles, take a look at him online. He built some amazing rifles. I mean,
Where's he from?
he's from Maryland.
Oh, wow. East
Yep.
Coast.
Yep. So
That's a long trek to
Oh, yeah.
Alaska.
He was-
Holy smokes.
he said it was quite the journey.
Was this his first sheep?
This was, I believe so. I do believe this was his first sheep. So he said he's been applying for about the past 4 or 5 years through cash, and he ended up drawing a really good tag.
Hmm.
So he shows up, and the next day, we headed out. In this particular unit, it's you have to hike into it. So my first sheep hunt, we actually hiked in, and we went in about 13, 14 miles. It's a really heavy used trail, real popular hiking trail, but the whole stretch is about 21 miles to, it actually goes down the river, comes up over, what's the name? Like a ridge line, and then goes back down. So the actual main river crossing is about 13 miles up. We crossed that on our first sheep hunt, but luckily this year, Cash did some scouting before season started, and he actually found some rams that weren't so far away. They were only about 6 miles down the trail, which made it nice. So we get all packed up, and how this hunt worked out is we actually had to take in pack rafts
Mm-hmm.
to get across the river. So Cash's wife, Stacia, she's probably one of the toughest ladies I know in my entire life. I mean, this lady's bad.
Tougher than your mom.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Mom. Sorry. But she's amazing. So her and another friend took in the pack rafts. We had all our gear, camp, food, everything we needed. So we get to the river, and as we're hiking in about half a mile from actually reaching where we got across, we ran into some other hunters. There was about 4 other sheep hunters, and we're like,
On their own deal, or do they
Yep.
gotta have? They have a guy.
they were
have a guide,
residents.
though.
They were
really?
residents.
They can just
Oh,
go
wow,
hunt.
okay.
Yeah, residents. I
Yep.
don't think you have to have a guide, right?
So they were residents, and we're like, oh crud! We're like, because from where we were hiking, you could actually see the sheep.
Ooh.
So they were sitting there glassing at the bottom of the river.
So they knew the sheep were there.
They knew their sheep were there,
Oh shit.
and we're like, oh crud! And luckily that river was moving pretty good.
Did
So
you
the-
guys talk to him?
Not really. No,
Oh.
we just kind of started walking. We just walked, and they stopped, and we walked past them. Like, let's get up here. We'll see what happens and see if we can.
No, all of your gear. There was no like drop a plane didn't drop stuff in. You guys.
Nope. This was a straight.
Everything was on your back.
Yep.
That you guys
So
took in.
we started at a trailhead and hiked in.
How many days hunt was this gonna be?
Oh, we were planning for a 10-day hunt.
So you had
So
to
all-
have gear,
all-
food.
Yep. All of
Everything
them,
for 10
Yep.
days.
For all full
your
10
back.
days.
Dude,
Yeah.
how
That's
many
a lot.
mountain houses for yourself did you pack
Personally, I packed so we had a 10-day
for
hunt.
10 days? How
I-
many mountain houses?
I only took 8
Okay.
just for dinner.
And what are you in your mind? Well, yeah, but if it's a 10-day hunt
Yeah.
and you only got 8, I'm doing the math here.
Yes. But so
Leftovers.
what happens is we actually take. So
if you shoot a ram, you'll use some of the meat or
we
cook
actually
that for dinner?
we've
or-
never did that with Johnny. Johnny's never did it. He just said he goes wherever we go, we never have firewood.
Oh, okay.
So we never
Yeah.
did that. But what we take a lot of is a lot of trail mix, a lot of Cliff bars, protein bars, and we actually will take a brick of cheese, salami, a thing of
Actually
turkey,
sounds good. Yeah.
and some bagels.
Things that fill you up.
Yes, but I actually forgot the turkey and bagels when I was packing. So
For
that was-
everybody or just for yourself?
Oh, for everybody.
Oh,
so they were.
man, I'd be
they
like,
were-
turn
I
around,
would
walk
not
back,
lie
bro.
to you right
That
there.
hurt.
Yeah, walk back.
Johnny's like, you forgot the turkey.
Oh,
that
man,
that
dude.
hurt the tip.
Yep. So we
Bagels? Totally.
and no
dude.
bagels. So we just had salami and
Lettuce
cheese.
wraps, huh? Just
And-
grab some weeds and wrap it around and eat
Oh,
it.
that's what Talon was eating.
But
I got you some fresh blades of grass.
Oh, it looks like the last of the season.
Oh, pine cones.
Pine cones.
so we had plenty of food. Luckily we had plenty of food. We always pack a little extra just in case. So
Let's tell them.
so we get to the river. They blow up the pack rafts. We get all our gear laid out and
Hold on though. Stop there. I've never even heard. Were they personal rafts?
Yeah, so they're little.
So how heavy are they?
They're I'd say they're about 20 pounds a piece, maybe a little more.
Really?
I'm not for sure. They're actually only
And
maybe
what'd you use to blow them up?
they actually have these wind bags, so they're like
Faster, Talon.
it's like a dry bag kind of,
Yeah.
but they scoop the air with it, and then there's a little nozzle they insert into the pack raft,
Huh.
and then so they grab like this, grab it with the wind, and squeeze it down. And that pack raft only blows up maybe the size of this table.
Oh wow.
It's
So
little.
So one guy goes across, right? Then how do you get it back across to the other people? You have a rope tied to it, or what?
Nope. So what we actually did. So we've never done it before. So Stacia went first. She's done a lot of it. So, she goes across first, make sure everything was good. She made it look so easy. My goodness. I mean, it was like she's like, oh, no big deal. So we threw our packs on, and
Is
stepped
he
in
in
it.
your space, Travis?
Thank you.
He's not talking to the mic.
Sorry.
Producers don't like you kind of people.
So I ended up going across first, and it worked out awesome. Luckily, how the river ran into it, we could hit it, and it kind of pushed us towards the sandbar where we could get over, and it worked out nice. So I paddled across, and then she actually tied the pack raft onto her pack raft, and she would come straight back across. I mean, the water's moving fast. I mean,
Yeah, I seen
it's
that video.
rushing.
Was that
It's
the,
going,
from
yeah.
that video you showed me?
From that video, and she just paddles across it like it was nothing. Me and Johnny just like looked at each other, we're like, holy cow. Like, we could never do that. So she would pick up Johnny, and then she picked up the hunter, and we got across, and from there she hiked back, her and her friend, and we're all headed back. So we actually, where we were at, we just hiked up the trail maybe a quarter of a mile and camped there for the night. So that was the first day. We had about maybe 6.5 miles first day. So that next morning we actually had about a mile and a half climb up to the area where the sheep are at. But every climb we've had so far, it's been the worst brush you could imagine. I mean, there's alders, there's everything you can imagine. I mean, there's this little special plant called the Devil's Club, and it's about 4 feet high, and there's stickers on it, millions and millions of stickers. So what happens is you go hiking up through it, trying to grab onto something, you'll grab that plant, and your hand's full of stickers. You just screaming.
Oh.
You're like, ah!
Does it stay in your skin?
It
or
does.
It does.
It does.
Ooh,
And you
that's
almost have
even
to
worse.
get like miniature tweezers to pull them out.
It's like stinging nettle almost.
Kind of, but it don't burn for so long.
Oh, okay.
It's just in your hand. So
It's in the bone.
So we packed up camp that next morning, started heading up the hill, and it was some rough going, and Mr. Steven, he did awesome. I mean, he chugged along. He did great. I mean, he just, no griping, no nothing. We just hiked, took our time, and got up there. So we get up through that hill, get up through all that brush, finally find a clearing, and we were actually planning on camping a little bit lower than we were expecting, but no, that's not right. We were planning on camping lower, and then we actually hiked up further. We went up a little bit further so we could get more of an attack position for the sheep. So we hike up, and where our camp was at was actually up on this kind of this cliff edge, and it almost went straight vertical, and we just hiked up it. We were like, let's go, we got to get up there. So we get up there that evening, set up camp, and from where we're at, we had a good vantage point. A little knob was to the left of us where we could actually look over it and then see into that bowl. And that evening, the rams were up on this little perch to the left of the bowl, and they were standing there. I mean, there were some nice sheep. The one ram we were going for, he was beautiful. So we see him, and we're like, okay. And we were actually there a day before season in that spot. We're like, let's just stay low tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. So Johnny wakes up that next morning. We all get up, have a little bit of coffee, and Jet Boil. I mean, anybody from Johnny last year had a little pot thing we used, but he actually ended up getting one of the Jet Boils, and those things are awesome.
I want to get one.
I mean,
Do you not? Have you used them?
yeah, we used
Or
them.
you used it?
So one can of fuel lasted us 6 days.
Really?
With this thing.
Wow.
Oh wow.
One little can lasted 6 days.
And does it boil super quick?
Super quick. We did our coffee in the morning, did our mountain houses, and we do more coffee
Duck
in the evening.
blind.
I've almost bought that like
Accessory.
10 times.
I have two, dude.
So, that's our little joy right there. That gets us
Oh,
through
I
there.
bet. Yeah.
So that next day, the sheep came down in a good area, and we're walking around, and we're like, okay, let's see what they do tomorrow. Because sheep can travel so fast, it's unbelievable in a short matter of time.
Did you see the other hunters at all?
We didn't. We never ended up seeing those hunters again. Thank goodness.
They probably didn't want to walk up there.
I mean, if they would have got up there, the sheep would have blew out,
Mm.
and we would have been stuck. So, that day we pretty much just sat around, kind of took it easy, and just kept an eye on the sheep. And that next morning we got up, and Johnny checked on them.
Is this opening day?
It was opening day, opening morning. We got up about 6. Got up about 6, and that next morning the sheep were in the perfect position. They moved off that perch, off that steep edge, and got down in the bowl. I'm like, well, let's go for it. So we start hiking up the hill. We hiked down into this gorge, and there was a good river running through it, little creek. We called it a creek, but it was moving.
Mm-hmm.
So we go up across it, find a way across it, luckily, because we weren't sure if we could get across it, because it was steep and it was moving good, and it just worked out. Luckily, we found a couple of rocks we could hop across and get across it. And then right after that, there was this giant boulder field. I mean, these boulders are bigger than cars, some of them. So how it laid out the terrain, it was perfect. So the bowl was kind of to the left of us, and that boulder field just kind of rolled over until it hit that bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So we hiked up in there, got up in the rocks, and we come up over this hill, and Johnny looks down in the bowl, and those rams were in the perfect spot. And Johnny's like, okay, let's get set up here and get everything set up, and we'll see if we can get a shot. So he gets set up, gets everything right, and those rams come down the hill, take a few steps, and walk in the right in front of them. And
How far do you think?
how far? John, I remember the yardage. I think it was 450. 450.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys trying to get ahead and let him come towards you?
You try to.
Is that your goal?
You kind of try to wanting the sheep to
Or cross in front of you?
walk into a trap. So you're wanting to be in the spot where you know they're coming, and from there you can
Ambush them.
ambush them. And if they stay in one spot, you kind of sneak up to them and try to get in your best position. So Johnny found the perfect spot, and he got down, and he goes, okay, it's the ram in the back, I believe. So he shoots.
How many
and
sheep were there? 4 or
there
5?
was 4 or 5. I can't believe. Johnny would be the one to tell the stories. I mean, he'd be the one to tell the stories. I'm just the packer.
You're nobody. You're nobody.
I'm nobody. I'm
Well,
just.
Talon, let's just end this right now.
I know,
Go
just over. So he shot a little high, and sheep ran a little bit, not too far. And actually, if he would have went to the left, he would have went up into the cliffs. And I don't know at that point if we would ever got him, just kind of how it was working out. But the sheep actually ran closer to us, which worked out perfect. And
he missed him the first time?
he missed him on the first shot, but the sheep ran towards us and got a little bit closer. And Johnny gave him a different yardage. He ended up making a good shot and killing him. So that ram rolled down, and we hiked up there. And I mean, this sheep was so pretty. I mean, he just had good bases, good flare, just an awesome sheep. And I don't remember what the measurements were on him. He was. Let me actually check real quick. Mr. Stevens sent me the
Measurements on
measurements on the sheep. So let me check it out real quick.
That's something like, I know that like the pictures that you Talon showed us and stuff. It's like it's a place that you're never gonna be able to. We can look at the pictures and say how beautiful.
Yeah, but until you're actually there. That's
until
why
we
I
ever
saw
go there,
Yeah.
it's like we're never gonna be able to fathom.
like, because all the sheep were here, but and we had to walk all this distance. It looks like a short distance in the photo, but it's actually it took us 4 hours.
We've been
to
in
walk
the
that
mountains
far.
enough and hunted
Yeah.
enough. We know it ain't like that, but
Yeah.
it's just like,
You can't appreciate views like that
No.
unless you're there.
I mean,
Because
like
it's
you
the
look at it like,
feeling-
whoa,
It's a feeling of like insignificance.
yeah,
You know,
like it's
this
overwhelming.
Is so
Vast,
massive,
yeah.
Yeah.
and vast. Like just that glacier
makes you
picture
feel like a
alone.
little peon.
Seeing the glacier and the mountains on the other side, a picture can't really do that justice. So the feeling when you were there, I mean, honestly, it looked like the coolest spot I've ever
It's like
seen.
surreal, huh?
Like
It was
you're in
surreal.
like a little clip, like a little cutout,
Yep.
and then everything around you is just like treacherous.
Yeah.
Like so treacherous.
It's the roughest country I'll ever imagine. But the most prettiest country.
How wide was that glacier? It's miles, right?
It's
not-
a good I'm not for sure, but
and
it's
it looks so clear.
at
there.
least 3 or 4 miles.
Yeah.
I mean,
it looked so
it's-
clear.
the whole glacier. I don't know how far it is, but it's miles and miles and miles long. It's unbelievable.
It's hard to fathom that something can stay like that.
It is.
You know,
It is. And
that long. It's a permanent fixture.
Yeah.
It's just like crazy.
it's crazy. But the first ram ended up. He was right at 39 inches, which is amazing, and he rough scored about 160.
160.
160, which is awesome.
Okay.
Which is great. So that was the first time. Worked out awesome. We had fun time, and we actually only in the field for 4 days.
So tell us about your other sheep hunt. I know there's 3, but we'll just keep it to 2 on this one.
Okay, so our last sheep hunt, which was just a couple days ago, we finished. But we.
By the way, if you're watching the video, I don't know if you can tell how much weight he's lost. How much do you know what you weighed before you went?
I weighed I was like roughly 186, 187.
What are you right now?
I'm 176. 176.
176. So
Yeah.
you lost 10 pounds.
Lost 10 pounds.
And you're already lean anyways. So
Yeah.
you basically are bones right now.
Yeah, right now.
Your neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're
So
shriveled up, dude.
all you eat pretty much is I mean,
You're the one that doesn't need that diet. That's the diet me and your
No, that's
dad
what
need.
I need.
Yeah, me and Travis
But-
need
Yeah.
that workout.
there-
Send me and Travis to Alaska
Yeah.
for 3 weeks and see what we look. We probably just want to walk.
the thing is
Would be
you
interesting.
get tired of eating bars, you get tired of
Oh,
eating
man, I can
trail
imagine.
mix, and you get tired of eating. Some of the mountain houses are actually really good, and then
What's your favorite one?
I like the beef stroganoff.
Do you?
Yes, I do. That's
that
a good
one's
one.
good. It's
I'm
just
down for it.
That
what's the
one's
other one?
good.
There's another one that's really
And
good.
beef stew's good. Beef stew's good, and
I can't think of it. Isn't there like a
there's a lasagna.
that
yeah.
one's? I like that one.
I
lot of
just
people
looked
like-
up best meals to use, or best meals to make in a jet boil or something like that. There actually look like a ton of stuff in there,
That'd be
like
good.
mac and
Yeah.
cheese, like all kinds of.
Yeah, mac and cheese is rough on Mountain House. I mean,
Well, I don't know if that
Ooh.
was Mountain House. I don't think that was Mountain House,
but I mean, you eat it, it tastes good for about, I mean, a quarter of the bag, and then about halfway
All of a
through,
sudden
you
it
just
kicks in.
like,
It's
gotta
oh,
taste
you're like-
cheesed out.
Yeah, you just cheesed out, and you're like, this is.
So was this other hunt treacherous? I mean, obviously it's probably all treacherous, but so you're in camp.
So the last hunt we actually we flew into an area which Barney, which was on a podcast you did with him,
Mhm.
Barney Helton, he actually killed a ram there 3 years ago.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's always been an area I've wanted to go to.
Oh, that's
'cause
cool.
Friends went there,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, okay, this would be cool to go there. And there's been a ram they've been trying to kill. Johnny's been hunting him the past 2 or 3 years. It's got away from him every time. So we're like, okay, we're gonna get in here and get this ram. We're like, this
That's
is
funny. You guys can remember that it's that same one.
yeah. I mean, he's just
How do you?
well, they don't ever fall off or whatever, right? They just grow a
yeah.
little
They
bit.
just grow. And
So you can just there's actual distinctions where you
there
can
is.
tell.
You can kind of tell just
Oh,
by
he's a little wider, or
by
he's
his
a little.
face, his
yeah.
little his flare. You can kind of just remember
Yeah.
remember what he looks like. So this sheep they've been trying to go after for a long time. I mean, he's a true giant. So we're like, okay, this is gonna be a fun trip. So our hunter by the name of David Kotz, which is actually he was 65 years old on this hunt. So we're like, okay, and he was in excellent shape. So like, okay, this is gonna be fun. So we fly into the strip, land, and right in the beginning, we look up and we're in this valley, and on both sides it's just straight up. And I look up, I'm like, holy cow! I go, Barney told me about this. I go, this is gonna be a rough one. And we start hiking, and actually Courtney and Jacob, it was the same trail. We used the same trail. It took them
Cut last year?
yeah,
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
cut 3 years ago. Took them.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was 3 years ago. And actually, they were there for 2 weeks trying to. I think it was 2 weeks they cut out that trail.
Mm.
So thank God they still had marks and we could tell which way we were going. It overgrew a little bit, but not terrible. It definitely made it a lot easier. So we hike up, get through all the brush, more brush, of course. There's always some brush in a sheep hunt. So we get across.
What
and-
else is there though? Bugs, right? I've heard there's tons of bugs in Alaska.
So the second sheep hunt, which we'll tell later, but that sheep hunt, I've never seen so many bugs in my life.
It's called Clark.
Huh?
Clark Pest
That's
Clark,
Control.
we need you.
Oh yeah. I mean, there were so many bugs, but on this one, the bugs weren't too bad actually. So we hike up, get through the brush, and there's actually a river bottom we have to hike up, and then you start climbing up the hill. And we start climbing, and right off the bat, it's straight up. I mean, first climb to actually get up to where it's a nice gradual uphill was almost straight vertical. We were grabbing on the brush, trying to get up that thing. So we get up that, and by the time you get up there, you're already sweating. You're like, oh my goodness, we're tired. And we still had a long ways to go. So I think the climb is actually 3,500 feet vertical climb, which is a good ways to climb. I mean, you're climbing up. So we get up there, we get on right next to the rim, and there's a nice little valley, and we found a little water hole, and we camped there that night. And the next morning we came over the ridge, and I haven't been in very much scree, which is actually, you guys all know what scree is. It's like a real loose rock.
Okay.
And there's shoots of it, which when you come over that rim, you want to find a good shoot, and you can actually gain a lot of ground coming down one of those. So we found a nice shoot, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be fun. So Johnny goes down it. I mean, this dude can run down that stuff like it's no problem. Johnny. I mean, he's done it, and he can flat out fly down it. Well, I'm like, okay, I haven't done this very much. Let's see how this goes. So I start taking steps, and what happens is it's so loose. I mean, you slide at least a good 2 or 3 feet on one step. Mm-hmm. So what you're doing is you're just trying to keep your feet in front of you to slide down. So we did that, and I mean, that was fun. We got down that chute in maybe 15 minutes from all that climbing. We got down in like 15 minutes. Wow. Unbelievable. So we get down there the valley, and we see that ram they've been going for. He was there. We're like, okay, let's hike up a little ways. We'll get in position where we can camp out. They won't get our wind, and we'll be all good. So we get there that evening, get camp set up. We go up, just go up the little knob and check, and those sheep are there. We're like, okay, we'll go get them next morning because it was late by the time we got to camp. So that next morning we get up, and the rams were on. So there was 3 bowls, and they were in the center bowl, which was perfect. It kind of went a ridge, went a valley, went up a ridge, and then a big bowl, and another ridge and a valley. And then it went over into another valley on the other side. So those rams were on top of the center bowl, and we hike up, and we're like, okay, let's go up there and get them. We're like, this is going to be a good day. Mm-hmm. So we get up there, get in position. We're just waiting for the rams to come over the ridge and head down towards us. And we ended up sitting there, I don't know how many hours, and they just never came close enough. They were about 700 yards, and just kind of stayed on the edge of the bowl and worked across the ridge line and just kind of walked back and forth, and never just gave us an opportunity to get a shot. Mm-hmm. So they went actually back up the hill, got on the ridge, and went on the other side, and we're like, okay, let's head back to camp. We'll go try it again tomorrow. So we get up that next morning, and Johnny looks, and those rams aren't anywhere to be found. We're like, okay, they just went on the backside of the bowl. We'll wait them out and see what happens. So we end up sitting there that whole day, never see them. And we're like, okay, we'll see what happens. They're going to eventually come back over. Well, we ended up staying there for 3 more extra days. All the rain came in, all the fog. So for 3 days it poured and was foggy. And we're like, crud. We're like, this is
losing days.
And you can't do nothing about it because the weather was bad. So we threw up a tarp, got under that, and set. And whenever it was clear, we'd glass for them and see if we could do it. They just never came over. So, and we only packed for 5 days. So by that time we were on day 6. We only had 1 day of food left because we skipped a day. So
you didn't eat for a whole day?
Huh?
You didn't eat a whole day?
One evening we just ate bars and
you're conserving those.
Yeah, we were conserving it. So what actually ended up happening was we actually had them come in and drop food off for us, and they realized the sheep wasn't in the area anymore. He moved out of the valley and was gone. So we actually had and by that time our hunter was a little discouraged. I mean, it was tough getting in there. We sat there for 4 days and nothing happened. So he was a little down. We only had 2 more days to actually.
You're just looking at rocks.
You're just looking at rocks.
The side of a hill for 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, you imagine spending all that money, you get up there, and that happens. I mean, you're gonna be down a little.
You're getting hopeless.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, I'm running out of time.
Yeah, you're running out of time, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
You just know
That's the game.
Yeah, you just gotta sit there. So that next evening, they're like, okay, well, you guys get out of there. We'll fly to a different strip in that same area, and we'll see what happens there. So we pack up, and the hike that took us 2 days to get into, we hiked out in 1 day. We were like, we have to get down there. So we grinded and got out of there, got back to the strip, and by that time, our hunter was pretty tired. He was wiped out. And where the area is, our close friend doesn't have a house very far from there, and he helps our outfitter out flying his guys in. So we actually went back, got a hot shower, got a hamburger, which tasted amazing after 6 days of eating mountain houses and bars.
Oh, yeah.
So we got all refreshed, got cleaned up, and we headed back out that evening. And we landed in the spot, which was probably the most prettiest spot you could ever land for a sheep hunt. I mean, you're right next to the Matanuska Glacier. We landed maybe 100 yards from it on the strip. The strip was right next to it, and just awesome mountains. I mean, the view was like breathtaking. So we knew there were some rams located down that valley along the glacier, along the edge of the glacier. We knew there were some rams down there from scouting. We're like, okay, well, we'll go down there and see what happens, see if we can find them. And we're like, well, we only have 2 more days to go. We got to go for it. So we start walking up. Fog rolls in, and we just had to take our time. We walk a little ways, glass, make sure everything was okay. Walked a little ways, and how the glacier is, we only had to cross a couple spots on the glacier, which was only about 100 yards, which was fun. I mean, you're walking across the glacier, it's kind of neat. So how the terrain was, it wasn't super steep, but it was just real rocky and kind of had a bunch of humps in it.
The glacier?
So like the glacier, in some parts, it doesn't freeze. So all that rough terrain, you know what a glacier looks like. All like those little knobs and peaks and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like weird looking.
Yeah, you have to walk across that.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, rocks and stuff is just all the debris.
All the debris.
The stuff the glacier's pushing up.
You kind of we had to work around that. Yeah. So we're walking around it, and there's this little knob right there. And we actually spotted a ewe, and he was a little ways away, and we're like, okay, let's just walk up there and see what we see. So we're walking up, and we're getting awfully close to him. We come around the corner, and Johnny just drops. He goes, they're right there. He's like, they're not that far away. So the hunter gets around, gets in position, and I actually was just sitting there, and I had a T-shirt on the time. And we're all next to a glacier, and I'm just sitting there shivering. Johnny's shivering. We're like, let's throw our coats on and go, we gotta get warm. And the rams actually bedded, and Johnny's like, okay, well, we could be here for a couple hours. He's like, because how it was, the hunter didn't have a proper shot to actually shoot him bedded. So he actually had to stand up before he could actually shoot him. So we sat there. He got in position, got in a nice, comfortable position, put the pack down. And
which probably honestly gave him time to calm down a little bit.
It actually gave him time to
shoot something right when you see it, they're just blazing.
He actually got time to catch his breath.
Yeah, and your heart's pumping.
Yeah, actually had a good little rest and did it. So we sat there for about maybe 10 minutes. 10 minutes, and we're like, okay, this is going to be a long time. We're like, this is going to be a long wait. Yeah. And there was 4 rams sitting there bedded, and we actually didn't see the 5th ram. And he came down, and those rams didn't see him, and it kind of spooked them. So the ram stepped up, and the ram walked out in front of him, and Johnny goes 400 yards. He was just put a little high. Guy goes boom and just drills him on the first shot.
Nice.
And we're like, awesome. The ram stands there. Takes a couple steps. He goes, hit him again, shoots him again. Ram's still standing there, like nothing's wrong with him.
Wow.
So wait, he dropped on the first shot and then got back up?
I'm not for sure.
But Johnny, he just hit him.
He hit him good.
Okay.
He was going down, and then he locked his legs and like stood up. So he shot him again. Ram took a couple steps and stood there again. I'm like, man, this is a tough sheep. Johnny goes, boom, they shoot again. He goes, hit him again, shoots him. He ended up having to shoot that ram 4 times before he'd fall.
What caliber was he shooting?
He was shooting a 7 rim mag. But yeah, I mean, that sheep was just tough. He just did not want to go down. So that ram, he shot him. Ram took a couple steps and he actually rolled not very far up. He rolled not very far down the hill and landed kind of on a steep angle. I'm like, okay, well, let's get up there and get him and pray he don't fall down. Because we hiked it all the way up there, and then if he rolled, we had to hike all the way back down. But we got up there, and what happened? We got up there, we ate a little bit of lunch, and that ram was sitting right there, and we're like, okay, well, we gotta get him across the side of this hill because there was a nice little bowl right there. We could get him and skin him out. So all three of us get down and grab that sucker and just drag him. And I mean, we're walking on these rocks.
And then what do they weigh? Like 350?
I'm not for sure. I mean, they're pretty stinking heavy.
300?
Maybe 250, 300. So we drag him across that thing, get him over there, and like, man, thank goodness we got him down here because I mean, if we didn't, we'd have been jacked. So we got him all quartered out, got him all skinned out, and it just worked out awesome. The pictures we got were actually amazing because that glacier was in the background. We could get all that, and it looked like Winter Wonderland in the background.
Yeah,
and it just
all the pictures you guys take, it just looks incredible. But that's cool with the glacier.
Yeah, so with that glacier and that spot, it ended up being probably one of the prettiest sheep hunts I've ever been on.
Wow.
But it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. So just kind of a
experiences you'll never forget.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good age and time for you to get to do those kind of things.
Yep. So I definitely don't take it for granted. I greatly appreciate it. I mean, I'm getting to do something most people only get to do once in their life, and
a lot
of people never ever get to do it.
I don't know.
So yeah. So it's amazing. It's an amazing experience.
That's awesome.
But just a couple stories of the trip. Yep. So it was a good time. I had a lot of fun.
You got a lot of stories too from Wyoming. Last year we haven't even touched on. So I just want to get it because it was fresh in your mind. Get it when you first come back. But thanks for sharing those stories.
You're welcome. So
I want to tell you. We'll wrap this podcast up, but something funny when you were here, Talon, with Michael. I actually really enjoyed that podcast. I don't know about you guys. It was just fun because Michael's just always cracking jokes and stuff. But here's something funny. Did you remember at the end of that I was doing a giveaway? Remember I said you comment on iTunes, give it a rating and review, screenshot that to me and send me to it, and I'll send you. Only 4 people. I said 5. The first 5. Only 4 people. You know why though, right? Because if I heard that, I'm like, I ain't doing it because there'll be too many people by the time it gets to them. So it's too late now, guys. Don't be trying to email me and say, oh, wait. But I thought that was so funny because that's the mindset of me. Like with stuff like, I ain't trying that. Yeah. You know, it's going to be too late. There'll be too many people. Yeah. And only 4 people thought, hey, I got to give it a try.
Did only 4 people listen?
Well, I don't know. That one had 500 downloads a couple first days, so I don't think so. But unless the same person was downloading over. I just thought it's funny because you kind of think I ain't going to win. So you don't even do it. Yeah, and then look out. You guys, honestly, you missed out, guys.
I never enter anything.
I don't either.
Ever.
I don't either.
Not once in my life. That's why I laughed because I've never called in on the radio. I've never entered
I have, and I've won. Do you know Trent's won like 3 times doing that?
Yeah. The radio?
Never done it.
I did it once when I was a kid.
Did you win?
Yeah.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
See? Guys, you got to, don't give up. Well, it's funny too, a lot of them thought it was a drawing. They're like, I'll put my name. I'm like, dude, you won. You're like the 4th person. I just thought that was funny. But anyways, well, thanks for listening, guys. And don't forget to give us a rating and review. It does really help push it out there. And the downloads are getting crazy right now. I could tell people are starting to get tuned back in the duck hunting, and probably more people are out driving too. Things are opening up a little bit more. And so people are driving, commuting, and starting to listen to podcasts, listen to at work. So download, it's growing, guys, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys listening, and we'll look forward to tuning in next time. We'll see you.